Okay, I have been receiving, what I try to do is take messages that I receive from people over a period of time, and then I finally decide to. Now, I've carved all kind of characters, and I've carved them from a block of wood, I've carved them from cutouts, I've carved them from anything in the world. But one of the biggest questions that I'm getting more than anything is not the body but the head. And a lot of people are really having a lot of trouble with the head. Now, I talked to a wood carver the other day that does small people, and he said something that a lot of people do is they try to carve the head first, so if they mess up on the head, then they don't have to waste time with the body. And that's pretty smart. It really is. As you begin to go down further into miniature work, you don't get to do the detail that many people can get in larger carvings. I'm sorry, my voice is a little hoarse. I've been having some issues with allergies and stuff, and we've had, down here in Texas, we've had a hot, cold days, and this has played havoc on all of us. So, if you're going to do miniatures, you're going to have to learn to do faces that are miniature. And we're going to start off with a 3-inch character, go down to a 2.5-inch character, and then down to a 1-inch character. And you'll see that, you don't get the detail that you get. I think you can get more detail, of course, with a 3-inch character than you can with a 2-inch or even smaller. So we're going to start off with a 3-inch character and work our way down. But the problem seems to be the head more than anything. The body they seem to be able to work on, they say, but the head is very, very difficult. So all I did was cut this out. This is only about 1 inch or a little over 1 inch thick. And I pretty much do my faces and my heads. When I say head, I mean face. This is what I'm talking about. The head part of the carving itself is where people struggle. And I've heard many people say, well, I struggle with the small characters, but I don't struggle as much with the large ones. Well, of course, that's because you have more to work with there, have more wood, have more detail, and things like that. I know when I put hats on smaller characters, a lot of times you don't have the room to work on the face as much and those type of things. And I do a lot of miniature work, as most people do. I recently on Facebook put a hobo camp that I had done using 3 different miniatures on it and stuff. So this is going to sort of be a series of classes on doing miniature faces. I did a video already of a larger face, how I do faces. And it was quite a bit larger face than this, probably 2 times, maybe 2.5 times bigger than the smaller faces. But one of the things I want to show you is, if you're going to do smaller faces, and this is where people need to understand things, if you're going to do smaller faces, then you need to get a small knife. And when I say a small knife, I'm saying a small blade knife. Now, a lot of people try to do miniature faces, and I found this with like a 2-inch knife, a 2-inch blade knife. And no, don't do that. Don't work with, don't try to do miniature stuff with large blade knives. It's just, you can do it, yes, but to get into the detail and everything like that, it's not recommended. In fact, I do all my faces, miniature faces, with knives that are 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch, no more than 1 1/4 inch blades. Now, for instance, I have a series of small knives here. This little knife right here, I don't even know what brand that is. But when I got the knife, it had a blade on it about this long, probably close to 2 inch, and I ground it down to about 1 1/4, and then I sharpened it, and it's been a good little knife. It was given to me by someone after I'd lost all my tools in Harvey. I have several small knives that I use. These are 1 inch blades, basically, or 1 1/4 inch blades. I made this knife myself. I made the handle. And I like this knife. And like I said, these are OCCT blades. And I made the knife handle, and this is for small carving right here. And I have several of these that I use. I'm sorry. Here's another one. Small bladed knife, same type of thing that I use for, and here is another one, a small bladed knife. This one's only about 1 inch, and I love this knife for small work. So you need to use a small knife. You need to not go with larger knives when you're working with small faces. So let's take this knife right here, for instance. And when I go to start on a small face, I know I only have so much, so much room to work. So we're not going to do a hat on this one. We're just going to go. And when you take this, just begin to remove wood from both sides. And if you want to, you can actually, draw a line down the middle of the face, if that helps you better, to sort of see on both sides how you're doing, okay? Just drawing a line down the middle of the figure itself. And so I go from one side, and then I go from the other side. Now, the face is like an egg, okay? It really is. If you look at our faces, they're basically, a lot of them are like eggs, okay? So, they're very similar to what eggs look like. And what you want to do first is to round off. Now, this is my way of doing a face, okay? This isn't everybody's way of doing it. But the first thing I do is I round off. I start shaping the head before I think about anything about what it's going to look like. Yes, I do. This is sort of a flat plane way of doing things, and it's not the way that everybody does it, okay? But I like to do it my way for my small figures. And as you notice from the front here, I come on each side of that center line And I begin to remove the wood. Okay? And then I kind of just make a cut on both sides, and sort of bring this area down to that way. And then we do it again, and we do it again, and we just kind of, what I'm doing is I'm preparing for the nose. From each side I'm taking a little bit off, and the nose I'm going to put somewhere around right in here. Okay? So I'm taking off from each side just to kind of okay. Now, we have to figure out, I'm just removing a little wood along here. Now, not everybody does it this way, okay? But this is my way. I'm going to take a little bit more off here, and a little bit more off here. So you see how it's coming the way I want it with the center line. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my nose in here. And just cut on each side a little bit. And each side a little bit. And then sort of just do this. Okay. Now, from that point, excuse me, I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong thing here. From that point, then we have to be considerate of the hair as well. Now, the hair can be created many ways. What I like to do is I like to come on each side of the piece and draw a line down over here where we're going to have our ears as well as and from that point I'm going to draw a little line here, and I'm going to make a very deep cut right here. And that's going to be a hairline. Oh, brother. How did that happen? I am so sorry. I moved the camera away. I dropped my, let me put this back in here so I don't get these things mixed up here. Okay. And I'm going to get that hairline to come back around here. Okay? Which I'm going to do right here. And get that to come back around here like this. And then I'm going to cut out this over here. Just. And then from this point, we're going to bring this down like this and make that cut into there. There we go. See that? And from there we start making our face. See from here. See that? It's not really that hard. It really isn't. You just have to plan a little bit. Okay? have to kind of, now, of course the nose is way too big, so that's going to have to come down. That comes down. Okay. Now, this also makes way for our ears and our stuff over here. So we just sort of remove some wood and we start looking at our face. Just like that. And remember I said your face is sort of like an egg, symmetrical, in such a way. Okay, now on the ears, I just take it and do this. I make like a little square here, okay? Just like that. Then you can cut the ears down, you see, you don't have to. And then I come over here. I take my knife. That's why you need small knives, okay? So that you can do this small work. And you cut out the ear here, just like a little box is what it is at first. And then you come around the little box, and on each side, you make a cut like that, and so you have your little ear right there, okay? Now, you can either create it, you know, and usually I just like to sort of do this number. Sort of, that's kind of the flat plain ear, but it's just sort of like that, in other words. And then shape the ear a little bit on each side. You want to bring it up a little bit, you can do that. Just like that. Let me come back here. And of course, do this. Okay? And let's come over on this side and do the same thing. It's just like a little, and if it's a little bit big, that's okay. Just don't make it too small. It's just like a little box. You cut on one side, you take off right there, and you cut on the back side, and then you come down here and you cut on the underneath side. And then come from the back here. Let's cut this in here because that's supposed to be like that anyway. And like this one. I'm gonna make another cut up here, just a little bit more. Cut a little bit more off here. And come from the sides. And make your ears. And once again, I like to and make it sort of round. And then you can come around the ear and even make it longer and cut this part out right in here. Okay? Sort of where your ears are. Okay? They're not fancy ears, but they look good. I mean, they look good as ears, in other words. Now, you just sort of go around and make the head, or the back of the head, this way. You go. I'm just going to kind of do this with the nose. Okay. The next thing that you want to do, I'm going to cut a little bit deeper in here. Okay? You kind of have a, I like to, actually the age lines and stuff, those are pretty simple, really, when you think about it. And let me show you by drawing. I just basically, now it depends on what you want to do, but we're just going to do a regular face with the age lines. And you take them, and you come down, and you make a cut right there. And you come on this side, you make a cut, and then come up underneath here and make this a little bit deeper. I like to make my cuts, come up there and go up underneath the nose here right there with it, where I make my cuts deeper, and then I bring this down right in here. I cut a little bit deeper. I like the deep cuts in the age lines, and that's just by coming back over here and cutting that deeper, okay? Now you have quite a bit of room on a 3-inch character to work with a lot of detail. Now when you get down to the 2-inch character, it's a little bit different. The work is not. So sometimes I'll make my faces a lot bigger, and in the character it doesn't really matter. So there you go. Now,